I'm in the airplane, just had great holidays in Shanghai for 2 weeks. My friend is sitting next to me, sleeping, and I'm watching the movie Notebook. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a love story, and the man in this movie is becoming older. You see their life just flashing through. And as I was sitting there in that chair watching the movie, I imagined myself becoming an older man and thinking, do I want to stay the person that I am today when I get older? Please like and subscribe. Do I want to be the same person in like 40, 50 years was the question. The reason I was asking myself these questions was because I've been doing self-development for like 1 year by then, and I wasn't always as fair to people in my life. I used to lie to people so that they would like me. And at this moment in that airplane, I knew that I don't want to be a person that wants to be liked while he denies his true self. And with true self, I mean a person that's speaking the truth, even though other people might not like me. I also wouldn't have an opinion. I would just agree with everyone because I didn't stand for anything. It just wouldn't matter to me. Hence, I lied. I basically had nothing to live for. And deep in my heart, I knew that the way I was living wasn't right. So in that airplane, on that chair, I started crying and weeping, looking at my friend. Oh, thank God, he's sleeping. I remember living such an agnostic life. My best friend was and still today is Muslim, and I always looked up to him because he made the choice, or I thought he did, of believing in God. And I myself, well, my mom, she didn't want to push me. She told me, my mom, which is my grandma, pushed me to go to the church on Sundays when they were living in former Yugoslavia. Bosnia to be precise. And my mom had also diverse friends, Muslim, Christian, and that not all of them went to the church. So she felt so much forced by her Catholic mom that my mom chose to not force her religion, Catholicism, on my sister and I, which is why in life I never had to choose what to put my faith in. Meanwhile, my espresso got cold and you didn't even like and subscribe. I just got a flashback, being 12 years old, standing next to a bus stop with my atheist friend. And remember, the story that I'm telling you happened in 2019. So it's a lot of years after this extra story of being 12 years old and this atheist friend telling me I'm a retard for believing in God. Because now I remember there was a point in life where I made the choice. I believe that something bigger than me exists. But at this point in my life, I think I was 24, 25, I became agnostic. And I'm confused about the definition of agnosticism. Doesn't it mean that you can't either prove nor disprove God? That's the term, right? I'm asking you. Because I think an agnostic, because you cannot prove or disprove God, makes the choice to believe in God because you can't prove nor disprove him. I think an agnostic person is someone that kind of believes in God, but then doesn't choose a religion because there's just no way to 100% prove that one religion is the true one. Anyhow, the plane landed and I was really doubting, should I start a honest and fair life as much as possible? My girlfriend back then, which is now my wife, picked me up from the airplane, and I also wasn't always as fair to her. I sometimes lied about what I was doing in my life so that she would love me. She's an amazing lover. But I remember we got home, I took a shower, I was sitting in my black t-shirt and next to her on the couch, and I told her, my love, I wasn't always as fair to you, because I remember in that cold shower I made the choice. No, I will choose to live a fair life, even if it means losing the love of my life. And it's very private what happened in our relationship, so I will leave it up to your imagination. We chose to stay together, and later we got into a Bible study because in 2020 I was like, God, if you exist, just let me know. And by the end of that year, Anastasia, which is my wife now, told me, let's go to that Bible study. She followed it before, but near the end she stopped, so she didn't finish it. She was like, I want to start again, but I don't want to do this without you, so please join me. And I was like, it was October 2020, via Zoom it would be, because Corona was back then. I was like, I don't really care about the Bible and stuff, but I was praying in 2020 to get to know God, and it seemed like He was giving me this Bible study to do so. So, living an honest as possible life, I told myself, I prayed to God, and I think He answered me, so I will join the Bible study. And during that Bible study, I got answers that I never received before. After 8 months of studying, they told us the second coming of Jesus was here, in spirit, married to the flesh of a new prophet called the New John. This cult sect is called Shincheonji, because eventually we left there. That's for another video, how I left the cult Shincheonji, so please like and subscribe. So imagine my wife and me believing that the second coming of Christ was there. We were part of God's kingdom, which was called New Heaven, New Earth, which means in Chinese and South Korean Shincheonji. And then we left. We felt like God was there and that God had left us because we weren't part of the so-called God's kingdom. I lost all my faith in God and Christ. I got depressed and started asking myself, can anything in life be true? Or is it just a choice to believe in God? And is this what they mean by just having blind faith? There's no way to prove God, so I will just believe in Him and make this leap of faith. Because for nearly 2 years being in that cult, I thought God was there. And when I left the cult, because I thought it was one, and I still think today Shincheonji is one, I really felt lonely and thinking, should I actually continue to believe in God? Or are really all religions just garbage and used to manipulate people for their own personal gain? By the way, I'm a video maker for 6 years now, full time, and I started speaking with lots of my clients, and they were these spiritual people telling me, you will be set free when you start believing in yourself and not something outside of you, like these religions that used so to manipulate you. I thought that sounded so wise, and I learned about hypnosis, about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is not a religion of course, about your chakra system, about self-healing. I had a client which did spirit guides, some other client did cards, like she predicted people's future by using cards, and then, oh, it's an angel, and then the angel has some meaning. And I was like, what basis do they have for their faith? Like, how is it grounded to believe in all these different ways of healing yourself? I also noticed that these people were searching for something outside this physical reality to believe in, because they were damaged people. And in some way, I believe all of us, let me just speak for myself, I was also kind of damaged. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear my story of why I think I was a damaged person. Oh, she came into the car. It's Anastasia.
I need the car.
She needs the car, so I'm going into my different car now. Can you tell them to like and subscribe?
Like, subscribe, and have fun and be nice.
I believe her. So I got into the other car, coming back on being damaged person. People choose religion because they are just like weaklings, I thought. They need to have a strong relationship with God because in life they have weak relationships and they were used by lots of people. Really, 4 of my clients have told me about their story being raped. Not all of them chose to believe like in Christianity or God, but at least in spirituality and trying to heal themselves in different ways. So I got in contact with one of my friends, Kun. He's this really spiritual guy, and we made tons of TikTok videos about self-development, personal growth, spirituality, and I about Christianity. And he introduced me to doing these mushrooms called truffles in the Netherlands. It's a psychedelic drugs. And he sent me some videos on why people use this. And it was really to escape reality because they suffered from depression. And then I was like, shit, like, am I suffering from depression? Maybe I am. And the cult I was in really made me think I wasn't able to go into this psychedelic experience because it would be devilish. But then I thought, God, with you I want to go in Jesus' name into this psychedelic experience, because I was scared, and my wife was also like, don't do that, it's drugs, it's bad for you. But this person, Koen, friend, sent me lots of information. I was like, I will do this psychedelic experience, use these mushrooms in the Netherlands called drugs, and let me see how I think about God after that. It was around 12 o'clock. We took 15 grams of truffles, the mushrooms, and after 30 minutes to 40 it started working. Because as I was looking at Koen and we were sitting on my balcony, I saw his head becoming bigger, because he's a bald guy, and it became all of a sudden so funny. I also remember looking at the wall and seeing it change forms. It was such a weird experience. I started laughing a lot, but every time I was laughing it ended into a cry, like it was so weird. I just couldn't laugh without it ending into me crying. But the weird thing about using these psychedelic drugs was that I didn't feel ashamed of crying next to a man. During this psychedelic trip I also didn't feel any guilt, and Koen and I wouldn't care about making TikToks, getting tons of views anymore. Like, all the worldly things just passed away. And the best way to describe this experience is also being an astronaut. It's like your spirit is into this suit called your body and you just feel very happy. And I remember we also didn't get triggered by topics like war or Trump, because he told me if Trump would use these psychedelic drugs, like, peace would come in the world. Like Trump and Putin, we were making these jokes, but I felt really peaceful. And then it was around 5 o'clock p.m. and we started to eat pizza, and that's when the effect went away. And we told this story to Anastasia. She was like, I'm glad it didn't, because it could also go the wrong way, right? It didn't break you down. Koen told me, here I have these pills which you can use if you think the trip is getting too crazy, which I didn't need to use. By the way, I describe a psychedelic trip as if you're going on a holiday. Afterwards you probably feel more energized and at peace. So my mind got clearer, and then I started to think, what will I put my faith in? I wouldn't say that I felt God during that psychedelic trip like some people do, but I remember one workout I was thinking deeply and asking myself, there are so many ways that people describe as going to God, but what do I want to choose? So I got on this video of a Muslim MMA fighter called Khabib Nurmagomedov. He won 29 matches and didn't lose any, 0 losses, which is really impressive. And as I was really studying him back then and seeing how he just keeps his faith in whatever he was raised in, I thought, why don't I just choose and pick a religion which I, at this moment in my life, feel safe with, want to put my faith in, and not get distracted by the tons of ways which people describe as going to God and chakra healing systems and whatever. And I just got sick of the Dutch social media. People telling me, religion is only used for manipulation, you can't find your peace there, go for spirituality. I just didn't care about that random spirituality anymore. It had no ground to stand on for me. So I decided that I want to continue living my life as a Christian, but now not manipulated by a certain group or church. And to confirm my faith, I got onto a video of a Christian apologetic guy named Frank Turek. He was having a conversation with an atheist person, and that atheist person asked him, what if for a few years I don't read the Bible? Can a Christian person then become an atheist? And that Christian apologetic guy, Frank Turek, told him, of course, if you don't expose yourself to a certain type of information for a longer period of time, you won't believe in it anymore. And then I was like, wait, what? So having faith in God means exposing yourself to the information, whether it's on social media, whether it's in books, and then choosing to believe that type of information. I was like, really? Like, does truth exist? And if you just pick something you randomly believing, I really started thinking like, what is truth? And then I started thinking about Jesus. He telling, I am the way and truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So I thought, what does that mean? And why is God described as a father? And how is he the son, and how you and I his children if we believe in him? I discovered in the Old and New Testament there are basically two ways described of believing in God, and they're both necessary. And the first one in the Old Testament is by keeping the law, right? But then God, as I read in the Bible, saw that no man was able to keep 613 laws written in the Bible. He said, there's a different way of coming to get to know God. And it's not through works, like doing a good deed and thinking you're a good believer, but by putting your faith in the person called Jesus Christ, in which the invisible God became visible. So I started to better understand what God meant for his creation, the people which he loved. The good news that came with Jesus, who was prophesied to come, was you cannot get into heaven by telling you're submitting to God, like you're surrendering, but then doing all these deeds, which means you're not surrendering to God because you don't have faith in that he's your savior, but you're trying to save yourself by doing all these prayers, by being the best person, just so you will earn heaven. So after all this time I got so much information, indoctrination and manipulation, I eventually reached to my own personal thoughts, what I thought was logical about the world and God. And what I don't find logical about God is doing works to earn, as if God is a businessman and he wants to earn people in heaven, like this having this transactional relationship. So I started discovering in the Bible why God made these rules if they are not a way to get to heaven if you follow them. And there's this verse that says, the rules were made for people to know what's good and bad. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But they are not a way to get to God if you follow them. I was like, what? Believing in the person Jesus Christ and that he died for your sins and rose after death to life means you're saved. I was like, this is weird. Because on the one hand, God made the rules, and in the Old Testament it says you should follow them. And then I got God. He knew that no person on earth will perfectly follow his own made rules, which tell us what's good to do and what's bad to do. So I started thinking about my relationship with my wife. Imagine she tells me, Marko, you need to kiss me 10 times a day, like some religions pray 5 times a day, or Christians pray the whole day. And if you don't, for example, if you kiss me 3 times a day, then on that day I will know that you love me less. Would it be a true representation of our love? Or would it just be a transactional thing, like me needing to kiss my wife 10 times a day to tell her I love you because I kiss you 10 times a day, which is being saved through works? Or would it be more fair if I tell her I love you, and there will be moments in life where I won't even be able to kiss you on a day because I will need to do work or be away? And as I started to understand the relationship I had with people, and I received this comment on a religious TikTok video which said, religion is not about believing in an invisible God. I was like, what? It's about believing in the person, Buddha, Jesus, or Muhammad. And I thought that was a very interesting comment, because how can you believe in the one true God if for Muslims Muhammad never came to tell about him, and for Christians Jesus never came to reveal the visible image of the invisible God? We cannot believe in an invisible God if no person ever told us about him. Then I thought, how can you have a personal relationship with a God if there's no way he reveals himself through a person, personal person. And after researching Jesus Christ, I made the choice to put my faith in him. There's my wife, I need to go. We're gonna have some nice breakfast. Hey honey, I'm just finishing my video. She got some nice food. She went to the Turkish bakery. Oh, that's so nice. So let me just finish my video. Oh, she bought some nice stuff and Turkish salami. I came across these verses, like 1 John 4 verse 20, which says, "Don't tell me you believe in an invisible God and you hate your visible neighbor." Jesus told me, even bad people love their friends and family. So if you do it as a good person, you're the same as them. Therefore, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. These are verses. Also, like, if you don't forgive another person, how do you expect that God will forgive you? So really understanding the morality that Jesus brought to this earth, while being the visible image of the invisible God, I accepted him as described in the Bible. I just have faith that he's the bridge and way to God.